Hey there everyone, welcome back to Smart Architectural Programming, where we take you step by step through Java the smart way. In today's video, part of our series based on the Introduction to Java book that we published, we're diving into the essentials of basic input and output operations in Java. This is the second video in our chapter 11, and the chapter 11, although works with exceptions, an important component of exceptions is always going to be input and output operations. And the reason of that is very simple. It's one of the most common type of operations where we have exceptions popping up left and right. And if you're not able to handle exceptions in IO operations, then we're pretty much setting up ourselves up to failing basically. And that is why we're adding this component within this chapter to further exponentiate the reasoning and importance of input output exceptions in Java. So let's first understand what IO operations are, right, in Java. Java IO, or input and output, is all about how your program receives data and sends data. This could be from console, files, network streams, or other external sources. In this video, we're focusing on most common type, file-based IO. That means reading data from a file and writing data to a file using two core classes, file reader and file writer. So how do you read file from using file reader in Java? So starting from that, the file reader class in Java makes it easier to read character files. What do we mean by that? If you look at the code below, you'll notice a few simple things. It opens a file input.txt. Let me bring in my trusty marker to earmark that here. So it opens a file called input.txt. You'll notice this file right here, right? It reads the file one character at a time. You'll see that here, while character equals to reader.read equals to -1. That's how we're reading one character in Java, and it prints each character to the console, and that's this print system.out.print is doing here. So that happens in this particular code, and those are the important components of this code. Although you always need to remember to close a file after reading it. It's good programming habit and prevents memory leaks, and you do that by reader.close. So why is this important? Memory leaks is a concept that I won't cover here, but remember, you're using memory that you're not releasing back to the computer, and a computer has only limited resources. If you keep on using memory without clearing space for new memory for new operations, you're going to run out of that resource sooner or later. Then we need to understand how you write a file using file writer in Java. So you look at this code. We're using file writer to write code on a file, and you notice that this code creates or overwrites a file named output.txt that you'll find right here, right? And writes a string into it and then closes the file. So then we have file writer write a string using writer.write hello from Smart Architectural Programming right here. And once it does that, it does writer.close to close the file, and again to prevent memory leaks. So ultimately you need to understand that this is an important component to reading and writing operations, or which ultimately tells you more about IO operations in Java. So if you want to append instead of overwrite, you can pass true as the second argument. New write in this particular section here, you can pass the second argument that says basically true, and you'll append instead of overwriting. So now that we understood the basic of these operations, and this is the these are the important components of IO operations, in particular one component of IO operations, which is file reading and writing. The rest of the operations were covered more extensively in the book, but this gives you a general idea of why IO operations are important and how they relate to exceptions, because you're trying try and catch here. Basically, you try to write, you try to read, because it's a third-party document or third-party file you're trying to access and sometimes it might not be where you expect it to be. Sometimes it might not behave as you expect it to behave. So exception handling needs to be done to make sure that this actually works without breaking your code. So let's look at a few best practices. Always so number one, always close your readers and writers, as I said, to prevent memory leaks. handle exceptions properly. Again, it's important because you need to do try and catch here to handle exceptions, because otherwise your code is going to break if the external file that you don't control behaves irregularly or you're unable to access it. And 3, use try with resources for cleaner code. We'll cover that in a more advanced video later, but just keep that in mind. To wrap up, basically, we've covered 3 important things in this video. What are Java I/O operations and what they're all about, how to read file from using file reader in Java, and how to write to a file using file writer. So that's it for today's video. If you're following along with the Introduction to Java book, this ties directly into chapter 11, part 2, basic I/O operations. Make sure to check it out for exercises and deeper insights and projects, test projects, because that's going to help you get better in this program, much better than just going over it in this video. Got any questions? Drop them in the comments. Like the video if you found it helpful, and don't forget to subscribe Smart Architectural Programming for more Java lessons, one smart step at a time.